I'm afraid for a possible World War III scenario. We have even had warnings coming from the Vatican, from the Pope. We had warnings coming from the Serbian president.
The recent BRICS conference dropped a bombshell, and it wasn't the fun confetti kind. The skies are darkening, token nation. While we were obsessing over the latest TikTok dance and whether pineapple belongs on pizza, it doesn't, by the way, the BRICS conference was making moves that could have our economy playing Twister without a mat. But hey, no big deal, right? We've survived Y2K, mullets, and that horrid skinny jeans phase. Time to buckle up and brace yourself because Willem Middelkoop, who aside from having a name that's super fun to say, is the Beyoncé of commodities, well, he is hinting at a full-blown economic hurricane. If there was ever a time to buy those emergency canned goods and maybe a Bitcoin or two, it might just be now. What's the buzz? Well, besides the impending goodbye to our dear petrodollar, there's this teeny tiny, read major, economic hiccup brewing. See, when the world's favorite dollar feels under the weather, the economic sniffles spread. Explains why gold and Bitcoin are the popular kids this year. Oh, and did I mention? With a few new pals, BRICS now controls, just over 40% of the global crude oil. No biggie.
That the current fight against Russia through the proxy war in the Ukraine is a fight for survival for the American dollar system. And in a way, the US needs to make sure that there's not a country becoming powerful enough to compete with the US on a global level. And that's why the US is having this financial economic war against China. And we've seen some generals in the US starting to warn that the US is heading for war with China. And we've seen President Xi warning his generals to prepare for war as well, because China understands that the whole development around this BRICS alliance is potentially very dangerous for the US. So the US won't go down without a fight, and that's the biggest risk for maybe all of us nowadays, that this fight between Russia and China might become kinetic one day.
Between the US and China, not Russia and China.
Sorry, between the US and China.
Remember when we said, hey, let's have a trade war with China? What could go wrong? Spoiler alert, quite a bit. Our wallets felt that sting thanks to those tariffs. And don't even get me started on the global supply chain reaction. Worldwide businesses are playing the worst game of economic Jenga.
China understands they are so powerful, and the Chinese understand when they can use their currency to buy stuff worldwide, just like the US has done since 1944, the Chinese can become the most, powerful country and the most wealthy country on earth. And there's so many countries in this BRICS alliance and who want to join the BRICS alliance who are in need of money. So when China can give them cheap loans, like the US has done with the IMF and World Bank, the Chinese have studied the American playbook from the 1940s and 50s very well. And the Chinese understand when they can pull this off, they can become very, very powerful. And there are so many countries who are willing to work together with China. And don't forget, most of these countries have China as their largest trading partner for years. Well, I think because of their own economic problems, there's more pressure on President Xi and on China as a country to really start to roll out this whole BRICS alliance idea. Because as I said, when China is able to use its own currency to trade worldwide and to buy commodities, they're in a much more powerful situation. So the economic downturn in China increases the pressure on the leadership to come up with some creative solutions. And I think they understand it very well, how they can, if they play this well, they can become much more strong and powerful in their competition with the US, because of course there's not a kinetic war between the US and China, but there is a financial economic war. And China understands that the US wants to bring down China like they wanted to bring down Russia. And that's also the reason I think China is supporting Russia in the way they've been doing that for the last few years. They understand that they have, in a way, a common enemy.
Now, if this was a high school prom, China's Xi Jinping was undeniably the prom king at the BRICS party. The guy lands, and suddenly, it's like a royal red carpet with Xi as the crown jewel. And let's not forget Xi's little wish list, just expanding the BRICS gang with a few more countries. But wait, there's more. China's got this tiny gold stash, 20,000 tons worth, making the gold-backed yuan not just a fairy tale.
Actually, all countries east of Germany have been accumulating large amounts of physical gold. And this is a sign in itself, because it clearly shows that countries expect something will happen within the monetary system. And even the Dutch central bank president has said that the Dutch still have a lot of gold, because you need gold to restart the system when something goes wrong. But like I explained before, if you work together, if we all work together to move this monetary system towards a new phase, and we have debt restructurings and a gold revaluation, we might have a relative easy transformation in international monetary system. But now we have this confrontation between the West and the rest of the world. Mm-hmm. And the BRICS conference is a great example of that. The great question is, to your question, who will move first? Who will start to back its currency by gold first? And it was no surprise to me that the Russians started to leak that story that the BRICS currency would be gold backed, and it was no surprise to me that the 1970s. We've seen that between 2000 and 2011. So once gold starts to run, and especially in a revaluation scenario, it will go up 5x, 8x, 10x. So expect gold to move to 10,000. It might move to $10,000 or even higher.
Over the next 5 years is what you're saying. Between 5 and 10 years. We'll give you 10 years.
It's very hard for me to envision a scenario where gold will not be revalued to a much higher level. And based on everything we know from the past and what we've learned from history, mm-hmm. I think it will be very easy for gold to reach $10,000.